Greetings and welcome to the Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over the updated Gellerpox Infected rules. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you find it useful and helpful? Remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, and a Filling Element Games and Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support as well. So, we're going over the last Warband review. I'm almost there. So these are Gellerpox Infected, which you can find out for free on the Games Workshop website and Warhammer community, as well as the Kill Team app. So let's get on with it. So for your roster, you still have Security and Seek and Destroy, which is all right. And then you've got your fixed operative roster, which is your Volgar, Fight, Christ Curse, the Bloat Spawn, the Flesh Screamer, Lumberghast, Glitchling. Well, 4 Glitchlings, 1 Mutant with Axe, and 2 Gellerpox Infected Mutants. So after that, you can then select Mutoid Vermin, which you can either have the Curse Mite, Ice Stinger Swarm, or Sludge Grub, but you can get those later. Your main core roster is above, so you actually don't take the other bugs in general, but otherwise the kill team is unchanged, a very much fixed roster kill team. So for your faction rules, you have Techno Curse, so at the end of select operative step, select 1 Techno Curse for friendly operatives to gain for the battle. When an enemy operative is within control range of a friendly operative, excluding Mutoid Vermin, or within 3 inches of a Glitchling, that operative is affected by your Techno Curse. Each Techno Curse rule is listed below. Barrel Warp is -1 attack from ranged weapons. Then you've got Screaming, Rust Spikes. Whenever an operative is fighting or retaliating against a friendly operative, if your opponent discards any dice as a fail, inflict 1 damage on that enemy operative. Then you've got Viral Vox Static. That enemy operative APL stat cannot be added to remove any positive APL stats it has. These are all nice, but you just go with Barrel Warp. Unfortunately, it has been nerfed because unless they're within 3 inches of a Glitchling, they're only getting -1 shooting attack if they're in control range. So you're not really getting a lot out of it, but Barrel Warp is still the best. Then you've got Revoltingly Resilient. Whenever an attack dice inflicts 3 or more damage on a Nightmare Hulk or Mutant, on a 5-up, when you roll a d6, -1 damage from that. So that's how your damage negation has changed. Then you've got Mutoid Vermin. They cannot perform any other actions than charge, dash, fall back, fight, or reposition and shoot. And they can fall back for 1 AP less. Mutoid Vermin cannot control or detect or contest markers or areas of the kill zone, and are ignored for your opponent's kill or elimination op when they're incapacitated and when they determine your starting number of operatives. They also are ignored for victory conditions that require opponents to escape and stuff, and your opponents can just move through as if they're not there. So they can't actually pin operatives anymore, which is really unfortunate. Then you've got Nightmare Hulks. Whenever selecting a valid target, friendly Nightmare Hulks cannot use light cover as cover, but they still can claim it for cover saves, which is technically a buff. And then friendly Nightmare Hulk operatives cannot perform unique actions. You must spend 1 action point to do so, unless you're opening doors. So you can open doors normally. So that's technically a buff. For strategy ploys, you have Plague Ridden Determination. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly operative excluding a Mutoid Vermin that has an engage order, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice. This is nice. Then you've got Blessings of Infection. Whenever a friendly operative is fighting or retaliating, if you roll 3 or more fails, you can discard 1 of them to retain the other as normal instead. This is nerfed, but it's more balanced. Now, if you get 3 or more failures, you discard 2 of those failed dice and turn it into a hit. Before it was like if your value of your dice, like if you rolled a 3, that was a miss, that would turn it into a hit. So it's balanced to what it should have been in the beginning. Then you've got Drawn to the Hum. Select 1 objective marker. Whenever a friendly operative performs a reposition or charge action during this activation, you can use this rule. If you do so, add 1 inch to his move stat until the end of that activation, but must end that move within that marker's control range. This sucks. It used to be a free dash, which was too powerful. I think as long as you could end within 3 or 6 inches of the objective marker, it would be fine. The fact it's within control range really sucks. I really hate Drawn to the Hum, and I'm annoyed I have to spend it because I need to get into position. Then you've got Rust Emanations. Whenever an enemy operative is in control range of a Nightmare Hulk, worsen the hit stat of the enemy operative by 1, isn't cumulative, would be injured. This is unchanged. Then for Firefight ploys, you've got Revolting Technology. Use this Firefight ploy when an enemy operative is shooting a friendly operative. That operative's ranged weapons have the hot weapon roll until the end of that sequence. If it already has the hot roll, you can worsen or add 1 to that roll from when they roll to go hot. Note that for the latter, you can see the result of your opponent's hot weapon before deciding to use this ploy. So if your opponent fires a hot weapon and then they go hot, then you can go like, okay, now I'm going to spend a CP to use Revolting Technology, which is really punishing. And in general, because it works on any shooting attack, your opponent just goes like, oh, do I hit on 4s? I actually might explode, which is really funny because if they actually do then decide to go hot, they basically die, because if they roll a 5, they take 10 wounds. So, or if they roll a 4, sorry, they will take 8 wounds, which would generally kill a 8 wound model. So very, very nice. Then you've got Barge. Uses Firefight Ploy during a friendly Nightmare Hulk's activation or counteraction. Before or after it performs an action, during that activation or counteraction, it can move through enemy optives and within control range, and it can perform the charge or reposition actions while within control range of an enemy optive and can leave their control range to do so. So buffed, technically, because you can counteract with it, which is nice. Then you've got Putrescent Demise. Uses Firefight Ploy when a friendly optive excludes a mutoid vermin dies. They inflict 1 damage or D3 damage instead if they're a Nightmare Hulk on every operative within 2 that's visible. So that's unchanged. Then you've got Frightening Onslaught. Uses when a friendly Nightmare Hulk performs a fight action. If it is incapacitated, it can immediately perform a free fight action. You don't have to select the same enemy to fight against, which is unchanged. So really, really good. Then you've got your leader, Volgra, who has 2 APL, 5-inch move, 5 up save, 21 wounds. So he's gone up 2 wounds, but -1 move. He has the standard profile for all your Nightmare Hulks, but he has 21 wounds, everyone else has 20. His Pyre Gut is now 5 attacks from 6, hitting on 2s, still free damage, range 6, saturate, torrent 2. Then it's got the Deluge profile, which is 5 attacks hitting on 2s, free, range 4, saturate, Seek Light. So you get a Seek Light profile. Flesh Metal weapons, which are 5 attacks hitting on 3s, 4/5 engineered. So you could, when you select this operative, you can select 2 different special rules for it to have. So you can add 1 to normal damage, crit damage, balance, brutal, lethal, firebop, or rending, which is unchanged. Then you've got Spread the Glorious Glyphs. Once per battle as a strategic gambit, select 1 objective marker for this operative controls to gain 1 of your Techno Curse tokens. It cannot be an objective marker within control range of an enemy operative. Whenever this objective marker is in control range of enemy operatives is affected by 1 of your Techno Curses and an additional rule as determined by below. You cannot use this strategic gambit when operative was in control range. So if you put Barrel Warp, you get no effect. Screaming Rust Spikes, you inflict 2 damage on the enemy operative instead of 1 when they parry, or when they discard dice. And Vox Stack affects the objective instead of just charging. It's not great. I would have liked the effect of Barrel Warp working on the objective. I don't know why they want to punish people for taking Barrel Warp, but your leader is technically worse, unfortunately. Then you've got the Bloat Spawn, who has mutant tentacles, 5 attacks, used to be 6, hitting on 4s, 3/4, range 3, torrent 1. Then you've got the Mutant Claw and Tentacles, which is 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4, and then Sweeping, which is 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, used to be 3s, 3 attacks, sorry. So it's 3/4 swipe. So swipe. Whenever this option performs a fight action and you select this weapon, if it is incapacitated, it can immediately perform a free fight action afterwards, but you might select this weapon profile and it can only fight against each enemy operative within its control range once per activation or counteraction uses this weapon profile. This takes precedence over other action restrictions, and you can continue to perform fight actions until this operative is incapacitated or has fought against every enemy operative in control range. So going up to 1 attack is very, very nice. So really, really good. And then you've got Tentacled Grasp. So whenever someone tries to fall back on a 4-up, you roll a d6. On a 4-up, they don't fall back, and you add 1 to the result if they have a wound stat of 8 or less. They don't fall back, and the action points aren't refunded. So unchanged, really good as an anchor operative. Then you've got your Flesh Screamer, who has Mutant Fist and Cleaver, 1 attack hitting on 3s, 8/9 lethal 5-up, or the Slashing profile, which is 5 attacks hitting on 4s, 5/6. It's got the Horrifying Shriek, so when an operative is within 3 inches of it, they must spend an initial action to do mission action pickup, and they're -1 APL for controlling objectives. So unchanged, really good. Then you've got the Lumberghast, who has 4 attacks on 4, 6, 7 brutal, and then the Spike Charge. Whenever this operative finishes during the charge action, you can inflict D3 damage on each enemy operative within its control range, rolling separately for each. Unchanged, still very, very good. Then you've got your Mutants, who are now 2 APL, 5-inch move, 5 up save, 7 wounds. It's got Frag Grenades, which are frag grenades, and then Heavy Axe, which is 3 attacks on 4s, 4/5 brutal, but improvised weapons, which have now been buffed, which are 4 attacks on 4s, 3/4 from 2/3 ceaseless. Group activation, so when you activate a mutant, you activate another mutant, and you've got Gellerpox masks. So whenever you would inflict critical damage, you can choose to inflict normal damage instead. So actually, mutants are a lot better. They've gone up to 5-inch move, and your normal warriors will actually, with the ones with improvised weapons, can actually kill stuff now, which is very nice. Glitchlings are 2 APL, 6-inch move, 6 up save, 3 wounds. diseased effluence, which is 4 attacks, on force 2/2, range 6, and then a melee profile, which is 3 attacks, on force 1/2. It's demonic, so you ignore the piercing weapon rule. It's small, so it cannot use weapons that aren't on its data card or perform unique actions, and it has super conceal, and it's group activation. So when you activate a glitch, you activate another glitch. Really unchanged. You've gone up to 3 defense dice, but I am sad you can't use the portable barricade. Then you've got Curse Might, which is 2 APL, 6-inch move, 6 up save, 2 wounds, and it's got 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2 free, rending Feast in close combat, and Feast whenever an operative has lost any wounds. If you get +1 attack and lethal 5 up, unchanged, but you have lost Fly. Then your Ice Stinger Swarm has the same profile for its stat line. It's got for shooting 5 attacks in on 6, 0/0 damage, range 6 stun, and then in melee 5 attacks in on 5s, 1/2 shock with group activation. Also unchanged, but it's lost Fly. Then you've got your Sludge Grub, which is 2 APL, 4-inch move, 6 up save, 2 wounds, Acid Spit, 4 ups hitting on 4s, 4 attacks in on 4s, 2/2, range 6, 1-inch devastating 1, piercing 1. So that's gone down from 2 inches to 1 inches. And then the Fang Maw, which is 2 attacks in on 4s, 1 free. It's got group activation and caustic demise. So when it's incapacitated, roll a d6 for each enemy operative within 2 inches and visible on a 4-up, inflict 1 damage. So this is unchanged. All your mutoid vermins are unchanged apart from losing Fly, but going up to 3-up saves. Then for faction equipment, you've got Mutoid Vermin. So after revealing this equipment option, you can add up to 2 Gellerpox Infected Mutoid Vermin, and you can use this up to twice. So if you want to select Mutoid Vermin, there you go. Then you've got Pollute Stockpile. So after revealing this equipment option, you roll 2d6. On a 7+, remove one of your opponent's equipment options. If you're less than a 7, they choose which one is gone. So this is actually really powerful, and they cannot then select that same equipment in the scouting step. So if they want to ensure stuff like ladders, they actually have to select it as a scouting option, which you can play around a bit. Then you've got Mutated Symptoms. Once per battle, when you activate a friendly operative, you can select 1 additional techno curse for it to have until the end of the turning point, and it must be different. Note that this rule confers to any operative being affected by your selected techno curse. So you can just have 2 techno curses up, which honestly you never take. Then you've got Plague Bellows. Whenever an enemy operative is within 2 inches of a friendly Gellerpox infected Nightmare Hulk, that techno curse rule is affecting them instead. So if you want to get your old techno curse for your Nightmare Hulks, you have to take Plague Bellows. So most of the time you're taking 2 Mutoid Vermin, Plague Bellows, and then probably Pollute Stockpile or an extra equipment choice. So it's fine, because if you wanted a 5th option, you could take it as a scouting option, because you can't use extra equipment point with Pollute Stockpile. It's a bit of a nerf, but it was needed. I just would have liked Plague Bellows to be built in for the kill team. It feels annoying you have to pay for that. It just feels not fair. For roster selection, Operative Selection, your fixed operative roster, everything applies as I said before for Star Striders. You can just convert your own kill team like I did. But otherwise, the only main downside is you can't buy this team. Star Striders are for sale as Warhammer 40,000, but Gellerpox aren't. So you have to either find them on eBay or build them yourself, which sucks. For the Gellerpox Infected overview, they've been nerfed. Let's not beat around the bush. They've gone down to 10 activations from 11 if you take your 4 Mutoid Vermin, which they did need, but they've lost kind of too much. They needed to lose their damage negation, and I think this kill team does all right into hordes. The main problem they have is actually into elites and actually moving up the battlefield, especially when people start taking razor wire more and blocking you off. Because you can't use Drawn to the Hum to play around your reduced movement, I don't think the team's that good. I think they could have just kept old Drawn to the Hum and the team probably would have been fine. The way it is now, it's too weak. You can play an interesting control playstyle, but I realized the Curse Mites, like your Mutoid Vermin, don't apply to your kill op. So for your kill op, you're actually a 11 for the kill op, which is okay. So you could play defensively around that, but because you don't count as 14 for the kill op, you can't play an interesting control playstyle where you just go off trying to max your kill op. And actually into elites, I probably wouldn't take the Mutoid Vermin. If you were taking Mutoid Vermin now, because they've lost Fly, I would actually generally only recommend the Sludge Grubs, because the Sludge Grubs are the most useful. Then the Curse Mites, kind of. But the Sludge Grubs, I think, are now the best. So I'd only take the Sludge Grubs, like the Mutoid Vermin, into 10 operative teams and above. I probably wouldn't take them into elite kill teams. I would take them into maybe 8 operative kill teams. But if I'm running into elites, I'll just go cool. I just go down to 8 activations, fine. And then I have equipment on something else. Because your Curse Mites your Mutoid just don't do much. If they still had, if the Curse Mites and Ice Stinger Swarm had age movement, I'd go that's fine, but they don't. they don't get any extra movement for losing fly. I know this team was really oppressive, but I think they're just too weak now. They have a really niche control grindy out playstyle, but then you can't really be as offensive as you used to, and you're kind of just sitting back playing very defensively. Gallodark is also really bad for this kill team because it's effectively just large open rooms which you can't really play on, and obviously Beta Decima is horrible. So you're great on Focus, but not on other kill zones. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. They're still fun. Like, they're more honest to play into, which is good. They're not horrible. They're a nice, honest kill team. But I think they're in a situation like Hunterclade where they're too honest for their own good. Just a nice little buff. I'm fine with the extra wounds and damage negation, but I think you could probably just give them the old hum and let them have their old techno curse range, and they'd be fine. But that's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you find it useful and helpful? Remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, and a link at Emma Games, and a Patreon, and a link to Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. So I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adults as a creator, I have Zombie Businessman, Tom, Supercow, Stephen, Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatwad, Lucas, John Thomas, Graham, Fangsu, Draken, Dave Meatswell, Darcy, Dada Goldens, Chris, and then for my veterans as a creator, I have Samja and Mark. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. I finally rest and watch the sun rise on a grateful kill team community. I've done all 35 or 33 faction guides. There we go, I'm done. Yeah, Gellerpox aren't in a great position, but you know, they needed a tone down, just a bit of a too much of a tone down. But now I can rest. I am going to sleep. I'm going to go away for a bit and just do non-video related stuff. But remember, no matter how much you fight the Gellerpox Infected or make content creation videos, let's say 33 faction guides in the space of 2 weeks, remember, there's always a chance for you to stay sane and win as long as you can roll a crit.